just say I do.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. I'm your host, Keith Willard. Welcome back. Today, we're going to start our conversation with this idea of PPE, post-pandemic energy. And I'd love to take credit for coining this phrase, but that actually came from Vanessa from Vavavoom Artistry, because we were having this conversation about the fact that there is just an intensity in the event world. And I'm going to just say South Florida, but I've heard that it's actually everywhere at the moment. There's just this intensity of everybody wanting to get their event done, planned, moved forward because of we're just coming out of the pandemic. And of course, the recent upswing in new infections. And of course, we're going to be talking about the new CDC guidelines that are going to be coming out later today, which just got posted. And we have some great guests. So rejoining us is going to be Sherry Lynn Kramer and Victoria DeSilvio, which I'm going to reintroduce shortly. But before I get to these lovely ladies, I'm going to talk to Marcie Gutenberg with an affair to remember by Marcie. Hi, Marcie.
Hi, Kate.
So, the CDC guidelines just came out. Masks back inside. What?
Even for those that are vaccinated. Wow.
And it's even more confusing than that because it's saying in certain circumstances and only with certain people. So it's even more confusing than it was before.
The saga continues.
Right? The saga continues. And I feel like
it's a soap opera.
It really is. And I feel like it's going to add to the conversation that we're talking about this post-pandemic energy, because I really feel like part of this is the confusion that comes around masks, vaccination, not vaccinated, etc. And again, because the CDC guidelines are changing once again, we've got a lot to talk about. And joining us in our conversation, obviously, is the always gorgeous Brooke Logan Stoner. Hi, Brooke.
Hello.
Hi, Brooke.
Hi, Marcie. Hi, Keith.
So the three of us will be in Vegas on Friday. So there's, no stress there because
honey, I'm in Vegas in my mind right
now. Well, because, and we're going to be traveling and we're going to be there for the National Association of Catering and Events Conference. And I feel like it couldn't have come at a crazier time with like I said, the new CDC guidelines. So we're going to be talking about
you two, but I feel like I'm looking at a group of winners right here.
Oh, look at you. Oh my God. Well, talking about winners, let me reintroduce Sherry Lynn Kramer. Sherry Lynn was with us last week. Hi, Sherry Lynn. It's great to have you. Oh, and I've got her muted. Sorry about that, Sherry. I had you muted. And then and joining this week back in town is Victoria DeSilvio, who was in Las Vegas last week. Welcome back home, Victoria.
Hello, Sherry. Hello, Victoria.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Glad to be back.
It's nice to have you back. So Victoria, by the way, because we didn't do a proper introduction for Victoria last week. Victoria is an award-winning producer of celebrity weddings, corporate and special events, and has been doing this for over 30 years. Victoria's talent is developing one-of-a-kind experiences, making her a sought-after wedding and event planner from some of the most important exclusive weddings and events. And let me just say that she has an awesome podcast that everybody should be listening to today, because I was actually caught off guard because when I went to go do my research on you, I saw that you had a podcast and I started listening and I was like, okay, I'm hooked. So
as one does,
right? So so Victoria, welcome to the show. We're so excited that you're part of it. I'm just making sure you can hear me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about post-pandemic energy. So there is. So, we're all kind of in this. Can you hear me? I can actually. Now we can hear you. You're cutting in and out, but we'll work on it. But, the thing that we're having here in South Florida, and today's thing from the CDC doesn't help this at all, is this intensity that is happening with our couples out there. Because, and I wanted to just check in with Victoria. Are you feeling this post-pandemic energy? Is this something that you're experiencing right now? Okay. So
I'll say yes for her because
Okay,
I know she is.
Yeah.
We both are.
Yeah, well, and that's the problem right now is that there is an intensity to get things done, but the problem that we're also dealing with. Oh, so so Victoria, maybe you need to log off and log back on because you're cutting in and out. So I'm gonna log back in and I'll bring you back in shortly. Okay. All right. So one of the things that we've been dealing with, obviously, is this energy, but the fact that we are now coupling this with the fact that there is a 30% deficit in overall labor when it comes to hotels in general.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Really dangerous. I mean, people are bringing in people that really, they don't know where they're coming from just to have bodies do the job.
Right. And so then they don't have any information. They don't have any expertise, and they're answering questions in a way that doesn't make sense for clients, doesn't make sense for us. And it's making, I feel like, our jobs harder in general.
Absolutely.
Agreement?
Getting
100%.
answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So what were you
definitely getting answers these days from the vendors and from the hotel scene is very difficult. I mean, I know that I hear it from you. I hear it from other wedding planners and such, that it's just hard to get in touch with like your salespeople or your catering person to handle contracts and so forth. So, or just general answers.
Right. And of course, if I'm a bride and I've been thinking about my wedding through the entire pandemic, and I'm finally at a point that it's going to take place, I'm already going to be anxious. And then add to that anxiousness that you're not getting a response from the hotel and you're not getting a response from vendors because they're crazy busy at the moment. And there's a massive labor shortage. And I feel like it's all swirling together to give you this great big crazy ass hurricane that we're now kind of experiencing. So, I think the question today is, first of all, I wanted to make sure that people understand that this thing actually exists, that this is happening out in the world. You're not alone. This is actually happening. And that, there are ways for us as event professionals to help alleviate some of this pressure. Yeah.
Well, you expedite things a lot quicker than, if you're, as a wedding planner, you're able to have more direct contact on a lot of different avenues. Even if you can't necessarily reach them in the hotel, there's always other ways to get in touch with these people.
Well, and that's the thing, is that as event professionals in this industry, we have people's personal cell phones. We are able to text message them. But if we weren't in this industry and if we didn't have that history or that expertise, we wouldn't have those contacts. I mean, everything is about who you know. Absolutely. Right now.
And you know what, especially for these poor brides, you have to try and explain it to them. And certain ones will be rational, others won't, and they're not hearing what you're saying. So you're trying to give it your nicest, best all. You're like, listen, I know it's the most important thing. And they're like, but you didn't do it, but you didn't do it. And you're like, please, don't let your head blow off. I promise you it's going to go off without a hitch.
And that's a really hard thing to get across to people, that, as long as we have the vendors contracted, they're going to do their job. I guarantee it. I promise you, they will do their job. Yep. You just gotta sometimes trust in the process. If you've contracted with the right people, because if you're contracted with some type of fly by night, that you've never heard of or that you Google and nothing comes up. I mean, I feel like that's a red flag.
You think? Really?
Right?
I mean, your bride has to have faith in you. You hired me for a reason. You trust me. You think I know what I'm doing. So let me do my job.
Right.
I love that she said, I think.
So they tell me.
Yeah. So Victoria, are you back with us? No. Okay. So Victoria's having some connection problems. Anyway, so we're going to continue with the conversation. So let me ask Marcie, you had talked a little bit about it's not just the fact that there is a a wait and response, but that there's actual issues with materials.
Yes, definitely. So in my area, in a lot of different areas, flowers and so forth, I am hearing a lot of people are having issues getting in some of the products that are needed, even though things are produced here in the United States. Some of the equipment, some of the materials come from other countries, and to get them into this country has been very difficult. So my suggestion, if anybody is listening, whether it's a planner, whether it's another vendor, or if it's a couple themselves who are planning their own event,
Right.
I suggest finding the opportunities early on. Search and do your research and solidify things early on to get them produced early as much as you can. Because, for example, in my area, I'm able to print them a lot earlier than sending them out, a month in advance. I mean, when you're working so close to the vest, you have no time for any leeway whatsoever. You've left it to the very bottom line end, and there's no room for if something isn't in, if they don't have the product.
But how do we tell our clients? Because there's a worry here that it could come across as an excuse to say, I'm not getting a response because there is nobody answering the phone on the other end. But if I'm a bride, to me that sounds like a freaking excuse. Like,
it sounds like a cop out. It does.
But
you can't.
But it really isn't. I mean, it's just the nature of what our country is going through. Think of it as, a restaurant. They run out of food. Where do you get the food from?
Right.
I mean, there is a legitimate issue with getting things into this country right now. So sometimes we have to be, we know it, but a client or somebody who's planning their own event may not realize that what it takes to get something in to the U.S., even if we're producing it in the U.S.
Right.
But that is why they really do, especially now, they need a wedding planner or an event planner, because they don't have, if we can't do it, how can they do it? And I think it's our job to say to them, well, I'm not getting a response, sit tight. It's our job to say, I promise you, again, you hired me and you got to put your faith in me. I promise you, I will stay in constant communication with you. I haven't forgotten you. I love you. You're my favorite client. Wink, wink, wink. You're my only client. But
practice the 5 Ps, anticipate guest needs, and always, right now, have a plan B.
Absolutely.
That is you're set up for success right now.
Absolutely.
I believe.
Yeah. So Victoria, you've been traveling all across the country. What are you seeing outside of Florida when it comes to the kind of this response rate from professionals?
It's everyone's struggling. They're trying to get by. They're trying to do the best that they possibly do. I was actually on the phone today with someone from the Westin at a property, and he was telling me that he was at another property, and that for a party housekeeper can't get the staff inside the hotel, and they're wearing jeans.
Oh wow.
Talking to, they're wearing jeans. When I was out in Las Vegas, I think I shared with you last week, the director of catering came and he said, we can't even get linens. They can't get help to turn around linens quickly enough. And so I've probably in the past, I've been looking for an RFP at a couple different locations and just talking to the suppliers, for them to try to turn it around and get back to somebody right away is obviously struggle. Doing the best everyone's work hours. When you talked about this, positive or this post-pandemic energy, I was telling Sherry earlier, I said, I feel like it's a battery. When you put a battery in something, a double A battery, you have a negative and you have a positive. And if you put it in the back way, it's not going to work. But if you put it the right way, obviously you're going to get all this energy. And with what's happening right now, again, people are going to be very cautious on the type of conference that booking.
Yeah.
Because we could turn around new restrictions again. The same thing with flying. I'm looking for an RFP, and I'm being extremely cautious. What scares me is that are they going to be able to execute this event with the amount of employees that they have? Like you just said, Keith, you were bouncing a couple weeks ago for an event because you've been a director of catering, you know what you need to do to get back there and execute and get things happening and work together as a team. But everyone is struggling. I talked to another, hotelier the other day. They said, wow, we couldn't breathe during the pandemic. For sure, we can't breathe right now trying to catch up.
Well, and the thing is that, and I'm so glad that, so first of all, by the way, for people listening that may not be in the business, RFP means request for proposal. So if you hear somebody say RFP, it means they're requesting, it's a request for a proposal. So it's basically, if you're a bride, you'd be looking for an RFP when it came to a room block, if it came to food and beverage, if it came to even a DJ services, you're looking for a proposal and costs that come around that. And one of the I think that is frustrating for us on the professional side is that we have been so used to kind of an immediate response, especially in South Florida. I mean, South Florida, we are known to get laser sharp responses within a couple of hours. And for us, we're like, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll get an answer for you today. And it's now I'm having to adjust my rhetoric that I speak when I speak to my clients to adjust for the delay that I'm now getting from hotels. But that's taken me a little time. And I think that probably goes a long way in also helping couples feel a little bit more relaxed, right? Because I've already prepared them for the possibility of a delayed response.
That's such a great point. That's such a great point. But after how many years in the business, you need to stop and think for a minute. Hey, don't be surprised if you don't hear from me for a week. Right. Don't worry, that's normal. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay. So, it's a great point you bring up.
Well, I mean, are you guys feeling like you're having to do, like I've actually started doing a call log and I'm going to call out the Landon Hotel in Bell Harbor, FYI. I am
drag them, honey.
Yes, I'm going to call them out because it's been 30 plus phone calls for a simple room block code. And up until this point, nobody's been able to give me an answer. And there's one person on staff that knows how to do it. Her name is Amanda, and she's amazing, and I love her, and she's awesome. But she's having to go through all sorts of crazy back channels because the people at Choice Hotels don't have the staff to put the room block code in on their master server because they're short of labor. So now she's stuck in between a rock and a hard place because here she is at a local property and she can't get stuff done from the corporate level, which then frustrates me. I mean, I feel like it's like
it's
dominoes.
Kind of scary, honestly. You would think like just a small business like what we practice.
Yeah.
Where's the heavy hitters, the corporations? Why aren't they doing this? They should be focusing room blocks, big, 250 people. That's coin, honey. You need, I get what I want and all that, but like, you need to keep the doors open too, right? And you don't want Keith Willard coming on a Tuesday show at 2:30 saying, "Hey, by the way, I'm putting you on blast. Get it together."
But the thing is that I think that also another piece that's happening in here, because it is a very complex issue. Another part of this is that there is so much business right now in South Florida that people are letting the smaller events go to the wayside. The 40-person wedding that was so important 8 months ago is no longer important to them. And I feel that's a mistake.
Huge mistake.
Huge. Absolutely.
Well,
right?
This isn't going to last forever. Sorry.
It's not going to last forever. But Vic, give me your insights on this.
100%, because what they're doing is, again, talking to all the different properties, Today, when I received my proposal, he had a lot of room rental in it. And so we spoke today, and I said to him, I said, what's the deal with all this room rental? He said, we can't get the staff to turn it around. And so we have to offset these costs because he's is more expensive, and they have to pay more money for the labor for. Wait a second, I can stack some chairs. You know, that's happening. To look at the bigger picture. Obviously, the food and beverage, but they have to be very conservative on that you're to the what your room, and
Right.
it's going to be taking up a lot more space on in the meeting.
Well,
And that's what I'm seeing.
well, and I have to tell you that
If they
literally
really
happened.
want our piece of business,
Yeah.
the hotel
Well, and that actually.
busy. Obviously, they want to focus more on.
Right. So, okay. So that actually literally happened to me today. I'm working on getting a farewell brunch, something that should be fairly easy. And I was shocked that, first of all, I was talking to the Intercontinental in Miami. They added a $1,500 room rental, which I was surprised at because I've never had a room rental for a farewell brunch. And so I thought it was unusual. So then I went to, and I'm calling out hotels because this is not negative. So then I went to the Surf Comer and I went to the Mondrian, and they both added a $1,500 room rental fee to that. And so it makes total sense what Victoria is saying, because they are having to pay people extra money just to do what used to be normal and customary.
Yes.
Yep.
But they're also, some of these venues are not providing.
Is that
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Victoria. Okay, so there's a slight delay.
I was just saying is that
Go ahead.
She's on mute.
Oh, it's cutting her out. Okay, so
yes.
So FYI, if you're listening to the show, we are having a few little technical issues that we're working through. So I apologize for some of the delays, but we're working through those. So I'm going to go back to Victoria when we're talking about the fact that everybody's adding this extra room rental because of the extra labor that's needed. What I find sad is it's not even labor that is what I would consider experienced. I mean, they're just basically getting muscle at this point, which means it needs even more time and even more direction, because you can't just say, oh, go set that room up with 8 crescent rounds with 6 chairs each, because they're going to look at you like, oh, I love croissants. What are you talking about? Delicious.
And they're not bringing back, a lot of them are not bringing back the experienced staff who has been loyal to them for years and years.
Right.
Bring them back, or can they not get them at this point?
Well, there's twofold.
50-50.
I know there's a ton of people out there looking for jobs.
Absolutely.
And then there's a lot of people that were in the industry who've gotten out of the industry,
right,
because of the pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah, and so we're finding ourselves kind of in a tidal wave of issues, and yet we still have events happening, and there is still joy happening because they are happening. At the end of the day, yes, we may have a delayed response because there is a shortage, but they go on, and I will tell people that when it comes down to the day of the event, guess who's going to be there? It's going to be those people that have been in the industry forever and ever and ever, because that's the day they've put into their schedule. They're not, the muscle. They're the ones that are there during that day to make sure it's perfect. I know Brooke's like, yeah, okay.
See these guns.
But I'm going to go back to Victoria. Victoria,
I think what you need to do is out.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. Go ahead with the question. I don't know why, but.
Well, no, and I was going back to you because, when we talk about this.
Keith, on the question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, we have a delay. I don't know why. I certainly apologize for it. But I think what we need to do is our contracts definitely have to change. We have to have that information in ahead of time, just so that we're protected on both sides, because we don't know what's going on moving forward. We truly don't. And we're going to industry. It's not going to be bad or 4 months. Hopefully by 6 months we'll be fine. But I think we just with our letting that again, like we're all talking about, this is going to be a slow.
Right. So, so Victoria, unfortunately, you are having some technical difficulties. So, if you can relog back in, and let's see if we can make that work. But we're going to continue on with our conversation. So, okay. Let's talk about the positive side. So now today we found out that CDC is now starting to recommend the fact that people are going to have to start wearing masks indoors, vaccinated and unvaccinated, but in certain circumstances, which adds a whole new world of confusion that is already out there. So, here we are, here we are having a deficit in labor. Here we do have a deficit in response rate. And we're busier than ever. And now the CDC has decided that they're going to throw in the fact that we are going to have to start wearing masks in certain circumstances, depending on the day.
Can I tell you, I almost wore a mask just to see what it would be like on the podcast. What? But I decided that it was just premature. And
right.
If you guys didn't hear, I mean, it's really as if it's not tough enough.
Well, so how do you keep your clients happy?
It's the same thing. You just need to forge forward. We are in a service business. We do what we do because we love what we do.
Right.
We love making beautiful events. We love making people happy. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's super satisfying for us, ourselves.
Well, but also, how do you set? Because now the problem is that I do have a certain client list that I've set expectations ahead of time. In the last 6 months, because we're coming out of the pandemic, I kept them happy through the whole pandemic, and the response rate that I got as soon as we came out of the pandemic was incredible, because everybody was so hungry for business. And then within like 6 weeks, it slowed the hell down. So how do you continue to provide that feedback to your clients and to keep them in a happy space? You try to be as realistic as you can with them. You try to say, look, this is how life is. This is what life is handing us right now. But how do you make it come across as real and not as an excuse?
It's candy-coated honesty. That's what I call it. Candy-coated honesty.
Yeah.
You have to ingratiate yourselves to them and make them understand. And I know it's not easy. It sounds like, just make them understand.
Right.
But it's literally like pouring your heart out and saying, listen, I know this is killing you. I know you want this. It's a challenge, and I'm with you. And does it always work? No, it doesn't always work. I mean, we live in the real world. But
it's like leading a horse to water. You've got two options. Hopefully the little son of a bitch drinks. If not, you have to drown it. And then there goes the contract.
Drink it.
There's your answer, kids. But please do try.
I mean, at the end of the day, we can, if you have an event coming up, you can sit and fester and hold your hand in your heart in your hand and everything. Or you can just move forward, embrace the situation, try to think about the positives. You're having a special day with you, your loved one, your family and extended family and friends. I mean, that's the part that you have to kind of put into your vision as to how are you going to move forward without letting the dredge, drag you down, so to speak.
Right. So, Victoria, you know, when you were speaking, you were talking. It sounded like you were talking a lot about, corporate versus social. Is there a difference in your client response between the two? Like, are you seeing a difference in how your corporate clients are responding versus your social clients into this current world?
No, I think it's definitely the same. It's definitely the same. And then the problem is just trying to find the space because everything is filling up very, very, very fast. And so everyone, as meeting planners, when we were just down in Las Vegas, just listening, not to the hoteliers, the CVs, but the planners, everyone is in that panic mode. They truly are. And clients are, just like a bride, they're demanding and they want the information right away. And you're doing the best you can to get them the information they're requesting. But again, you said just try to get a passkey so your clients can make a hotel reservation. What I did in the past is I would just call the front desk of the hotel and ask for the general manager. I mean, unfortunately, that's what I had to do because I wasn't getting any response, and the client again response. So right. I try to delegate like I can and put a timeline on it that is feasible for them and for us, knowing that we are going to have issues with trying to get an answer right away from someone. It's just not going to happen. But, I'm working on this RFP for this client. We're looking in Napa, California, and in New Orleans. And I apologize for getting them this information, but they were pretty good in turning it around right. in 2 days for me, which was really great. And then today, the guy called me and he said, listen, let's do a virtual tour. So we did a virtual tour. The property was great. And it just, I didn't have to get and fly and go to a site visit. I knew that it wasn't this particular client. Right. But, I have another property. We're doing an event in September. And every time I call, she picks up the phone and she said, you know what, it's better than getting a message. Let's just, let's get on the phone and, let me get to the next thing. So it just really depends on who you're talking to or trying to get in touch with someone and finding out that person's no longer with the company. But again, like I said, we are doing that. Right. They have to be respectful of that. It's like, the smoking mirrors or master of all. And, it's just a lot. It's a lot. But I think, again, in doing a contract and moving forward, we have to be very clear in that contract because going into a property doesn't assure that everything is going to run smoothly. And that's my concern moving forward, signing this contract in February. First of all, is the hotel going to be around? How many hotels have closed down, right? How many of them have changed management? That happened to me in Savannah. They didn't even tell me. It was right before the pandemic that they had changed ownership and management. And I walked into, it was horrific. It was the worst experience of my entire career. Thank God the task force in. It was that bad, and it was for 3 weeks. So again, going back to the contract, making sure that they're very clear, making the hotel responsible if there's any changes for it, so it doesn't come back on you, and then obviously coming back on your clients. I think that you definitely have to have a contingency when you speak to planners because, again, things happen. I had that experience during 9/11 when we were producing an after party for country music television. 9/11 happened. Right. And we were like, okay, are we still moving forward with the telecast? Are we moving forward with the event? But then what happened, it was all the security that we had to hire to bring in. And obviously it elevated and went beyond what that contingency plan was. But I think it's important moving forward, what is that contingency plan that you have put in place? because you can incur extra fees and stuff. We just don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know. And I think this is, it's kind of important to say to everybody at this point in time. It's like, look, we're in the wild, wild west at this point. We are rolling with it at every single turn. And us as event pros are doing basically everything we possibly can in order to ensure that you have the best day possible, regardless of your corporate or social. I think that there's an intensity when it comes to the brides, because this is their first time doing an event. And so all they have to go on is the word of their friends and family that have gotten married before and had an experience before all of this happened. And it's just not the same. We're just in a different circumstance. And so, it's going to be very difficult for our clients to then trust, because then if you add to this the fact that there are a whole bunch of new event planners out there that decided to get into event planning because they are no longer working for a corporation, and they thought, you know what, this is a perfect time to, I did my sister's wedding. I can be an event planner. Let's jump into this. I've printed some business cards. Come on, let's go.
I can do origami. I can make two things. I'm not starting a business.
I got calligraphy way.
Right, but I mean because that adds to the whole thing. I mean, I got a phone call yesterday from somebody that is dealing with an event planner that's fairly new into the industry, and the problem that she's having is that she doesn't have those personal connections that you develop over time. And it's not that she's doing anything wrong. She's not doing anything wrong. The problem is that she just is not getting a response like the rest of us, but she doesn't have any back channels in order to speed up the process. And so what happens? The client feels like, she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Well, she doesn't know what but that, you guys understand what I'm saying. Yeah.
Planner doesn't.
Yeah.
The planner.
100%. Because, when these vendors get a call from Keith Willard, man, they're like hopping on it. I got your back. And that's what you do. You surround yourself with the vendors that you really trust, that you can make a phone call and say, Keith, listen, I really need you. And then I don't have to think again, but is Keith going to do a good job? I know he's going to knock it out of the ballpark. Trust him because of the years experience. And that's important. Really have these relationships and it's valuable. It's a big tool that you really need to build that trust and to build that relationship with vendors so that you have that trust factor there. And I think I think that the planners that are starting out, or wedding planners, I think they're going to get swallowed up in our industry, especially with what's going on right now. And again, you were talking about the current clients that you have for weddings right now. Obviously, I would, for any kind of a client moving forward, I have a sit down with them and have that clear understanding that they are fully aware of what's happening, the struggles that are happening in our industry, what could possibly happen in the near future. And then I think it's for you to make that decision. If they're not listening, then maybe it's for you to say, this client is not for me, and turn away from it.
That's a great point.
That is a great point. And I think that is something that I feel like event planners do not do a good job at, because we want to please everybody, and we don't want to turn down any business. But I feel like that is so smart that you have to say at some point, look, maybe this isn't the right client for me.
Yeah. I think if people, first and foremost, with what's going on, right? Keep your biggest asset is integrity, right? No matter what's going on, keep that intact. Things will fall into place, even in crisis and pandemics. Pigs get slaughtered. Don't be greedy. I've said it 1,000 times on this show.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Do the math. I'm real good at arithmetic and a little bit of cosmetics. Don't lose your integrity, because once you sacrifice your integrity for those coins,
Well, Rick and I were talking before, and we were talking about people buying people, and that's really. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years. She's 30 plus years, and we can pick up phones and call anybody.
Yes,
and I mean, the same obviously for you, Keith and Marcie. And it's just not easy for new planners. They can't build those relationships because there isn't time now to build them. So
Right. That's true.
it's an entirely different world, in which goes right back to what we've been saying from the beginning. So we're lucky. We're struggling. They must be, it's really difficult.
Oh my
But-
God. I can't even imagine being a new planner. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna call out Anna Hess. Anna Hess Events. She's fairly new to the world, and she's been doing it right. We love Anna
Slaying, huh?
because slaying it,
Slaying.
FYI. And but the thing is that Anna always has kind of a joyous attitude about her, and I think that makes a huge amount of difference. That when you're talking to clients, even though we have this massive pressure on us because, again, the shortage, the non-response, et cetera, I think that if we stay in a place of joy when it comes to planning and talking to our clients will also feel that. And I think Anna has that in spades, that even though, the world is crazy out there, she still shows joy in how she is planning and how she relates to clients, and therefore the clients feel better.
And you know what? Even if they don't, I'm going to quote my dear friend and partner, Victoria DeSilvio, smoke and mirrors. Even if you're having the worst day, you are happy. You are thrilled. And she says that all the time.
Yeah.
And I think of it constantly. You're having a bad day. Doesn't matter. It's amazing.
The show goes on. The show must go on.
But how do you balance that attitude, that the way that you smoke and mirrors, with the understanding that the world is different now? It is harder now. I mean, is it just experience that allows you to be able to have that attitude? And I'm going to go to Victoria for that.
No, 100%. I mean, again, I was in Vegas. I did have challenges with the hotel. I think I shared that with you last week. But my audience is 30 meeting planners, 30 hoteliers. Obviously, there's chaos, going on, not chaos, but, there's just things going on, fires that you need to put out. But again, when you walk in that room, Keith, how are you today? Everything great. You have that smile there. You have that positive energy. And the same thing too. I think it comes with just years of experience. And, I have that, through the years, that you don't buy into the chaos of your clients. You have to calm that situation on whatever it is. And, I remember, I don't remember where I was. I think it was in Athens or somewhere. And, the clients at the bar, and they're like, oh my God, ready, this. And they're like, just going crazy. And I looked at them, I said, I got it. What is it that you need? And then I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I can't believe it. Or you get coffee when they're sitting in the meeting. You do those little things when they don't expect it. And that just shows that you are paying attention. And I remember that I did that to a client. He was just really having a bad day. And it was about 3:00 in the afternoon. I actually put alcohol in his coffee. And he just kind of turned around at me and this big smile.
Oh, we need to be friends. Yeah. What time's coffee?
That's funny. That's good.
Yeah, and it's the little things that you recognize, or those little detailed things that are unexpected. But again, being in the industry, again, everybody, for a very long time, you need to know how to balance that. You really do, and you can't buy into the chaos. If you buy into it, they're going to swallow you and spit you out. You're not going to survive. And you have to learn, again, it's with years of experience. And go ahead, Keith.
Yeah. No, and I was going to say that, you can, I've said a million times that you can save a wedding with a bottle of water. And sometimes it's, when you're in the makeup room and you have a random aunt or a first cousin that's in the corner and she's scowling a little bit. And if you just take the moment to grab a bottle of water and walk over to her and just say, I'm just checking in. I want to make sure you're acknowledge that person. We see you. And immediately their face brightens. It's like,
brought some levity to it.
Yeah, they're not.
Now she'll let the makeup artist put lashes on her and curl her hair because she wasn't about 3 months ago, so you gave her that water.
Right.
Something that simple.
But I feel like Victoria hit it on the head. It's like, bring a cup of coffee. Yeah, you need to put a volume in or some alcohol.
You're
Great.
trying to get people on pills, and she's going to get people drunk. I'm just saying, put on some lashes, girl. Have a nice day.
Well, when I was I left my shoes up on the compartment, this little thing, because I was overpacked. Imagine that. And so I had to go to the JetBlue counter, and there was only one person working. I had to probably wait about an hour for shoes for them to bring it down.
Right.
But I'm telling you what she did, even though that the line was long, she was looking ahead at those people and say, hey, I got you. Just give me a minute. I got you. And she was like magic act, so nobody could come up to that in a mood. She was being proactive, and she was recognizing people and says, I got you. I got it. And I went up to her and I said, you are a rock star. You are amazing. And she balanced it all in the line. There was probably 25 people all the time in the line for the hour that I spent there. And that's what you have to do. You just have to balance everything.
Listen, we don't know when we're going to get out of this. I mean, we just don't know. Nobody has that crystal ball, and we just got to move forward and deal with what we have on our plate, and move forward and try to bring some positive light and positivity to the situation.
Well, Marcie, you hit it too. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you go ahead, Sherry.
Positivity always breeds positivity, and that's the truth. When one person starts scowling and getting negative, it's contagious. And the same thing works the other way. Mm-hmm. So you smile, and, to that testament, like I was in Publix yesterday, waiting at the cold cut counter or whatever you want to call it, the deli counter. Right. And there were so many people waiting, and they were all, man, these people are taking so long. And I know obviously it's not our industry, but it's across the industries. And the ladies at the back of the counter are probably being taught. But she said, I got you. Oh my God, the same thing that Vic was saying. Oh, don't worry. Give me a minute. I promise. And all of a sudden you could feel people going, okay.
So I feel like we've hit on something during this conversation, because we have talked about the fact that there is this energy in the community. We've talked about some of the negative issues that are happening in the community, but I feel like what we have just said is one person can make a massive difference in the overall experience of our clients, and that is us.
You know what? Right? One look from one person, one thing, one smile, one and it's different.
Right. If we keep ourselves in a positive place and allow ourselves to be our own, cheerleader, to say, look, sometimes we got to believe in ourselves and say, look, we're going to make this happen. We're going to get this done, and if we believe in ourselves, then that will come across when we speak to our clients. So not only do we have to inform our clients of what is happening, but we also have to then do it with a positive spin to keep them in a happy place. Is that, am I saying that correctly to everybody?
1,000%.
Amazing. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. We're going to do a quick break, and then we're going to be right back for After the Veil. So we'll see you shortly. Yay.
More than just entertainment, we understand the importance of the entire wedding day celebration. From the moment you select the date until the day of the celebration, we are there to provide you and your family with the peace of mind you deserve. Mike Sipe Entertainment of Vincent Productions has been providing entertainment and production nationwide for over 30 years. Our company motto is your day, your way. And our mission is to provide our clients with the most unforgettable entertainment experience while promoting an atmosphere of trust and togetherness. Learn more at themikesipe.com.
Okay, so I love Mike Sipe. Anyway, so here we are after the veil. So and so we just have a few minutes left over, but so I kind of want to turn it over to our guests to talk a little bit about their company and what they are currently working on, because and I'm going to say Victoria first. So Victoria, tell us what's going on in your world. Brag on yourself a little bit about what your current project's on and what you're hopeful for.
So we're focusing on corporate Sherry, and that keeps us is based out of Cedar Rapids. It's a communication firm. They have several B2B magazines, and one of them is for our meeting industry called Meetings Today, and the other one is called Interior and Sources. So we have been planning their meetings for the past 8 years. And so we are doing live events where we bring meeting planners to meet with the suppliers. So we go to different destinations. We were in Hawaii this past year. We just did Las Vegas. We had Huntington Beach for our interior sources, for our interior designers, for a conference for 3 days. And then we fly right into Louisville for our Meetings Today live event, again, bringing our meeting planners together to meet with the suppliers. And then we'll do Myrtle Beach and then finish up with Tucson. And we're currently planning for next year. We have Hawaii back on board, which we're super excited about. And then Savannah and a couple other great destinations. So what it is, it's giving the meeting planners an opportunity, a lot of them that haven't traveled for the first time, to come and to experience the destination, but also to meet with 30 different suppliers, from the southeast or from the Midwest or from the West. So that's what we're currently working on right now. That's our primary focus. We've done probably in our career, probably 1,000 weddings. We definitely will do weddings if we get a call from a particular, from a special client. Again, we want to be very selective on who we select as we choose as a client, because again, in this industry, I still think people don't understand the value of what a wedding planner is, unfortunately, which is really sad because, we this industry, there's a lot of pressure on us. I don't think that they realize it, value, but we have to stay, current with what's happening in our industry, and people have to be respectful of that. And again, I said, if you're meeting a client and you're just not, clicking with them, or the energy's not there, or they don't understand the value of it, I think really that's when you need to turn, to walk away from it. So again, like I said, we'll do a wedding, but we're going to be very selective on that wedding that we're going to do.
And Sherry, I want you to brag on yourself a little bit, because you're an author. Holy moly! Congratulations on being an author. So what's the next project for you? What do you've got coming up?
Well, in our spare time, when we're not doing those meetings and conferences, we also started a new company, or it's actually a division. It's called the Opal Group, and it is a lifestyle and home management firm. And one of our specialties, surprise, surprise, is special events, both social, and we'll incorporate corporate if the client happens to be, a CEO of a big company. But literally, it's managing people's lifestyles. So it's everything from, working with companies that specialize in, whether it's, walking a dog, to organizing a home, to watching a property while it's away.
Right.
Recently, one of our clients, we've just done 3 or 4 of their children's birthday parties, and those are smaller events, but we're doing a bat mitzvah coming up. And just a lot of stuff like that. So really, with the company is 1.5 minutes old, and we're actually getting business cards like any day now. It's that new. So literally, we're go. I think in this world that we're in now, we can't bank on anything. So you take what you know best, the special events industry, social, corporate, whatever it is, and then you move it into the next.
Well, that's super impressive. And Marcie, I never really give you a chance, because as host of the show, we don't typically talk about our own stuff. But Marcie, what do you got going on? What's kind of your bragging point?
Well, this week I am trying to wrap up some details because I've got several clients that I am trying to finish out their needs. And then this weekend we will be heading to Vegas, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
We're up for a few awards for our chapter and personally, and for our podcast here. So we've got a lot of things coming up, and I'm gonna tack on a day or two to just play around before and after, because we're making the long flight over there to Vegas.
Might as well.
So it's just been an exciting time. I mean, we just had an event last night out in Fort Lauderdale. Beautiful event, turned out fabulous.
Westin Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Westin Fort Lauderdale Beach. Allison Brickman took great care of us.
Amazing event.
The amount of food was, oh my gosh, I have to tell you, they set the bar very, very high for the other locations to step up. So that's super exciting. We have a lot of new faces, which is always a great thing, and and some returning faces. So that's always a fun part to being able to see old and being able to see new faces is just it's exciting because that's what keeps our industry alive. It keeps the excitement there.
And Brooke, how about you, baby? What are you bragging
and one
on?
more thing.
Sorry.
I just want to point out, I will also be a guest speaker on a panel for an eco-friendly line that I have a bunch of eco-friendly lines that I work with that I'll be a guest speaker for after the Tia Trends.
Tia Trends, that's right.
Tia
I forgot.
Trends.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jim Morgan is doing Tia Trends. I totally forgot. I have that on my calendar, by the way. And what about you, Brooke? What do you want to brag on a little bit?
I mean, snatching trophies, honey, snatching prizes, smacking those machines. I'm ready. I just got both scale gowns tailored to fit my body yesterday. I mean, I'm ready. So hopefully,
Yeah. So if anybody watches the show regularly, you all know that we're about to head out to Vegas on Friday. The three of us, Marcie, Brooke, and I are going to be out in Vegas. We are going to be doing the show live from Vegas next Tuesday, 2:00. It'll still be 2:00. I think it'll be earlier for us. I don't know, like 11 a.m., something like that. Yeah, hopefully. Dragging us in 11 a.m. So.
You'll be coming in the night
they'll be
before.
dragging my chair away from the slot machine. Like, hey, girl, let's play.
But
hopefully I have vouchers.
All right, but we're super excited about coming back to you. So I just want to say thank you to Victoria DeSilvio and to Sherry Lynn Kramer. Thank you so much for being part on Behind the Veil this week. I know that we had some technical difficulties, but I really do feel like we got the message across about what is happening in the world today, and gave some tips to some of those local pros about how to handle kind of the world that we've got going on, and hopefully to give some brides and some couples out there a little insight into what is actually going on. And so to breathe a little bit. It's going to happen. Event pros will make it happen. So for this week, I want to say thank you to everybody, and everybody say goodbye, and we'll see you next Tuesday live from Vegas.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.